I've made quite a bit of pizza on this channel, and while I'm no expert at it, I do love it. Historically, my favorite styles have been New York style and Detroit style. I'm definitely not a huge fan of Chicago's deep dish pizza, and I have had it in Chicago, so I do know. But the less talked about style from Chicago is this tavern style or bar style pizza. Apparently, the locals eat this much more than the deep dish style pizza, so I wanted to try it myself. I love thin crust, but I've never had this cracker style of thin crust, so let's see what it's about. I don't have my own recipe for this crust. I'm using Kenji Lopez alts. I'll link to his video below, but I'll just kind of briefly run through it without giving you the amounts. I just use a food processor and a kitchen scale to make sure everything's accurate. You don't even have to bloom the yeast, and there's not even a lot of it, but it's actually pretty quick to make in the food processor. Once it makes a ball, you just let that spin around for like 30 seconds. Scientifically, I don't understand why that gets you the same end result as 8 minutes with the dough hook in a stand mixer, but oh well. I just take that out and separate it into its 2 dough balls and then add it into 2 containers with some oil just so it can ferment in the fridge. Kenji recommends 3 to 5 days or even a little bit longer to let it ferment and it'll taste better. And I agree, from my own personal experience, letting pizza dough rest in the fridge for multiple days makes a huge difference. I let mine rest for 4 days total, but you have to take this out 1 day early so that you can do the last step. And that's just rolling this out to let it sit out at room temperature to cure. That's what really dries out the crust and makes it the cracker-like texture that it's known for. So with my rolling pin, I just carefully rolled this out with some cornmeal. It actually took quite a bit of time because this is a very low hydration dough, so it's pretty dry. And it being cold from the fridge made it even harder to spread this out. It took me like probably 15 minutes for each one. But once you get it to that 14-inch diameter, you can place it on some parchment paper to let it rest overnight. I can't put this in any open spaces because I have cats, so I just put this in my oven with it wedged open by a wooden spoon. That seemed to work fine, and then the next day you can just get this ready to cook. Again, you can see how much this dries out by sitting out overnight. That's what's going to make this super crispy and enjoyable. I have both a pizza steel and a pizza stone, and while the stone makes better results than a regular oven, the steel is just unmatched in making homemade pizzas in my experience, so I always use that. That preheats at 550 for like an hour while I get the pizzas ready. I just put the dry side down on my pizza peel, which this is linked below, with a little more cornmeal. Starting with my pizza sauce, and this is the exact same pizza sauce I used for my Detroit style pizza. Traditionally, they're not identical sauces, of course, because they're different regions, but they're close enough. They're both cooked sauces with a good bit of sugar in them, so I felt like making the same thing. Again, in my food processor, I add one 28-ounce can of whole peel tomatoes, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste and 2 tablespoons of olive oil, a couple of cloves of garlic, which I just peel and leave whole, a teaspoon each of oregano and basil, and a pinch of red pepper flakes, about a teaspoon of onion powder and a tablespoon of sugar, and then a little bit of preliminary salt, which we're going to adjust later. I just mix that until the tomatoes and garlic are all broken down. I just cook this in a saucepan over medium heat, stirring occasionally to reduce it a bit. It's probably not quite as reduced as my Detroit pizza because that makes like stripes on top of the pizza, but I do want this a little thicker than it is raw, so I just let this simmer for like 15 minutes. Just season to taste with salt once it's at your desired consistency, and of course you can make this in advance. But spread that out to the edges of the pizza. There's going to be no edge crust on this. I think the sauce is enough for 2 pizzas with a little bit of leftover. Then I'm going to top with a little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano, which I grate right onto the sauce. To me, it does best under the mozzarella cheese layer, but you do you. And then I will add my mozzarella cheese, and I am using some whole milk, low moisture mozzarella. This is definitely harder to find than the low moisture version of this. Like, I can only find this at one Walmart near me, but it's worth getting. I grate that myself, and a pound is enough for 2 pizzas. Then traditional for this style of pizza is some Chicago style Italian sausage. I don't live in Chicago, so I just bought some generic ground Italian sausage. Just pinch off little pieces of that until you cover the pizza. I use like a 1/4 pound per pizza. And it is kind of weird to add raw meat to a pizza before cooking, but that's how they do it. I would probably break off a little smaller pieces than I did here on this first pizza, just to make sure they get cooked thoroughly in the oven. And then maybe not traditional on this style of pizza is pepperoni, but I love it. And I can sometimes find these full pepperoni logs that you can cut yourself. I love these. You can cut them a little thicker than the pre-sliced pepperoni, and I think that's a little bit better. Although I probably went a hair too thick here, but it still came out okay. Lastly is some jardinera, which you can just buy at the grocery store. You're supposed to get the kind that's packed in oil instead of like a vinegar brine. And you can tell simply by its viscosity, or if you take a look at the ingredients label, oil should be one of the first ones. So I'm just spreading portions of this all over the pizza, and then I'm finishing with some flaky salt. I love that whenever I have meat on top of a pizza. And then after your steel is preheated, you can dump this right on top of it very carefully. If the pizza steel is exactly 14 inches like mine, Maybe make the crust a little bit smaller, like 13.5 inches, so it fits comfortably. This should bake for about 10 minutes. You're just looking for the toppings on top to be melted with the cheese and the sausage to be cooked through. You could take a look at the crust on the bottom, but I could see on top that it was starting to burn, so I pulled it then. I was making the other pizza on the peel in the meantime, so I didn't have that available to pull the pizza out. I just carefully grabbed it with tongs and pulled it onto a wire rack. Though with the crust this brittle, I would recommend having another peel or just saving the peel to pull this out before you make the next one. I also did try turning the pizza around in a circle halfway through to get even cooking, but I learned that's incredibly difficult and I was going to lose the pizza off the side of the steel if I tried that. Props to those professionals that make it look easy. But you're done at this point. You can cut this and serve immediately. I don't have a wedge pizza cutter, so I just use this rolling one. I cut squares or kind of rectangle shapes, just 3 lines up and 3 lines across. But take a listen to the sound of this thing. That's amazing, and there's some lovely browning on the bottom. This just looks like perfection. Let's get to the taste test.
Surprisingly, a good bit more work than expected for something simple. You know, your New York style pizzas or Detroit pizzas, the dough is a little bit more to work with instead of just throwing it in the food processor like I did a couple days ago. I think the real work is trying to roll this out without tearing it and spending a lot of time just getting it to the right shape and size so that it can cure overnight. But still nothing crazy and a really nice product. Exactly what I was expecting. Of course, Kenji is the GOAT and explains everything perfectly. But let's try this thing. I've never had something like this. Cheers. Yeah, the beauty is in this crust. Even though it's super thin, it still packs a bunch of flavor because of the fermentation and then the curing overnight. The texture is absolutely perfect. And it does feel right. That sausage goes with this. The fat just melts over the cheese and everything. Of course, I enjoy having pepperoni with this as well. But I can see how easy it is to crush like a whole pizza like this because it just goes down so easy. Just from watching other people's videos and just seeing how this looks, I was thinking this could dethrone Detroit pizza for my favorite pizza. I'm not willing to say that at this point. I think this is still not as good, but it's definitely better than deep dish pizza because that's not my favorite. I don't think I have to have one that I always go to. It's good to have variety and try different things. But hopefully I get around to doing this again because I really enjoyed this. That's gonna do it for me today. Thank you all for watching. Be blessed, and I'll see you next time. I will definitely be crushing the rest of this pie immediately.